Hey guys, if you enjoy listening, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at SisterNightPod. And don't forget to check out our website, sisternightpodcast.com. Thanks for listening, and now on with the show.
What's up?
How are you?
Good.
I'm good.
Welcome back to Sister Night. Today we have a couple interesting topics to talk about. But first, how's everyone doing? Ashley, how's your week been going?
It's been going good. Officially, TW has moved in. It's like day 0, so yes, that is finally finished and done.
Today's the first day.
Yeah, because tomorrow, that's it. He's not in his apartment anymore tomorrow. So today
he gave his key.
Yeah, he gave his keys, everything. So today's the first full living together night.
Wow.
Yep. Does it feel different? Given it's just the first day. Does it feel
different? Yeah, I guess a little different. I can see small changes around the house. Small changes, right? All of his shoes are here, and some stuff in the shower, and his music equipment and all that. But most importantly, his ginormous screen TV has come to my apartment, and I'm really excited about that.
I thought you weren't a big TV person.
No, but I love movies. I love watching movies. Mm-hmm. So this beautiful big TV, it's bigger than the table. It's awesome. I love it.
That's cool. What about you, Cindy? How's it been going? How's work? I know you're officially off training last time we spoke. So how's that going?
It's going very well. Yeah, it's so busy, and it's pretty exhausting. I work 4 10-hour shifts, so it's just I feel like I'm in the hospital all the time. But other than that, we have the week has been good. We went to Outer Banks this weekend, which is in North Carolina shoreline.
Yeah, I heard that's beautiful.
Is that where the wild horses are on the beach? Or am I thinking of somewhere else?
I didn't see any wild horses, but they have a lot going on. They have lighthouses. They have huge sand dunes. There's beaches. There's where the Wright brothers, the first in flight, that's what North Carolina is known for. Yeah, the brothers that invented the airplane, so we went to that site, the memorial for them. And it was just so crazy where the first airplane took off. It's this little, patch of land. It's nothing so grand and big, but to think that now we have a bunch of private jet companies came from that, these two brothers messing around. Yeah, so
absolutely.
That's crazy. Mm-hmm. Speaking of flights, I am going away on vacation on Saturday with my little family, Kleber and the baby, and the baby's having his first flight.
Yay!
So,
oh my goodness, how long of a flight is it?
I think it's between 4.5 and 5 hours. So
that's a decent amount of time.
Yeah, it's not too long, but it's kind of a little long. It's not a super short flight, so we'll see how he does. I'm a little nervous, not because I think he'll be bad. I just think he's gotten to the stage where he's extra wiggly. And he doesn't like to, he doesn't like to be sitting still. So I don't know how we're going to keep him entertained.
Yeah.
But we'll figure it out.
Do you have baby Benadryl or something?
Baby Benadryl.
To put him out?
Yeah, I hope he just passes out, or I'm planning on nursing on the plane. I'm gonna try to get a window seat, so I think they allow you to pick seats the night before, so I'm gonna hop on as soon as I can. and try to get a window seat, because I figure, like, if he's nursing, then maybe he'll pass out, and you know what I mean, and go to sleep, as opposed to just being up and wiggly and just kind of rambunctious the whole flight.
And also that a process of swallowing will help with his ear popping.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Actually, that's good point.
Maybe like try to do it like right when he's like, you know, ascending and descending, because that's usually when the ears pop the most.
Yeah, that is good advice.
I mean, I'm a little nervous because I haven't nursed in public. Obviously, I don't plan to be like all out, boobs out, but you know, I'm gonna have my little throw. But I don't really nurse like that in public, so it'll be interesting. But I just figure the bottle, and then as soon as he sees that bottle, he starts crying and like going crazy. So I'm just like, I need the easiest thing possible to kind of get him under control. So we'll see.
Is it a night flight or is it during the day?
No, it's during the day.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
it's
our
like
flight
first thing in the morning.
Yeah. Our flight leaves at 8 in the morning, 8:50. And then we get there like around 1 o'clock. So we'll see. And we're flying United, which I'm like not looking forward to it. It was the cheapest tickets, but
apparently now they're I'm sorry to interrupt you. Apparently now the United flights are like way good. Like the service has gone way up after that incident. So
really?
Yeah.
Well, already the baggage, like we're going international and they're like, you know, you got to pay for check-in bags. Every other flight I've been to, like you get your first check-in bag when you're flying internationally for free. Not with United, you gotta pay.
Correct.
So.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, I only fly United, you know, because I'm a member of their flyer miles or whatever. But I think that we've always paid for checking in our bags.
Really?
Yeah, but we have an American Express and they reimburse you the money if you.
Do they?
Yeah, so look into that, because Jeffrey, up to a certain amount per year. Because I remember last year we were traveling so much that we reached the max and we eventually had to pay some of ours. But
I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, you should.
Is it any American Express or is it a specific?
Well, yeah.
Is it like Black Card?
Do you have the platinum? It depends on which card. There's the gold, there's the platinum. Yeah, it depends on which cards. The benefits.
Also, I heard that like some travel credit cards will pay for your global citizen application fee, which is pretty cool.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah.
You know, that global entry, I've had that for years. I've had it for since like Jeffrey and I first started dating, and I paid $100 for it, and I haven't had to renew it. It is the best $100 I've ever spent. I'm telling you. Oh my god!
That you
had that. What is it exactly?
Well, you don't have to go through customs and stuff like that.
Correct.
Right?
Really?
Yes, correct. You don't have to go through customs. Well, you do go through customs, but it's already your fingerprints. Like when I did it, I signed up for it in like 2012, and basically you have to go to Newark Airport, and they you get your hand fingerprinted, and you fill out the custom sheets. It's already filled out for you, and you go to like a little kiosk, and and it'll say global entry kiosk, and you skip the entire line, and people are looking at you pissed. Yeah, like people are looking at you like, what the heck? And you're just go and you put your 4 fingers without your thumb, and
you're afraid that like all your information, your fingerprints, everything's on file there. Like,
well, all the passports now have a chip, so your information's out there regardless. You know what I'm saying? But it's just the best $100 I've ever spent, because whenever I travel international, and I do travel a bit internationally, so it's worth it. Let me tell you.
I'm gonna look into that, because that, especially with a kid, I think that would make just flying. So you know what I mean? So you can get off the plane and get to where you need to go, as opposed to like that long line is dreadful.
Yeah. It is dreadful.
I mean, it takes a while to set it up, but once it's set up, you're golden. And then when I had to come down here to North Carolina, I had to change the address, and that took a little bit to change the address and everything. But they didn't charge me a fee. Like, I didn't have to go to Charlotte. Charlotte's about like 3 hours from us. I didn't have to go to Charlotte to get the new fingerprints and like all of that changed. So It is just phenomenal. When we went to Israel and Copenhagen, we used it. It was just awesome. It really is. So, highly suggest it.
I didn't even know you had that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Oh, yeah. I use it all the time. And actually, I've traveled with friends that, like internationally, and they don't have it. And then, like, I pass a global entry. I'm like, see you later. And, like, I have to wait for them on the other side.
You have to sit there and wait anyway.
Yeah, like, I have to wait for them anyways. But, and they're, like, irritable because they have to, like, stay in that line. Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, no, I feel you. Wow, I'll look into it. I thought it was going to be, like, it was more difficult to get that.
Well, back then it was $100. I don't know how much it is now, but it is worth the money and the little bit of hassle, especially if you do a good amount of traveling. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If you travel like once a year and here and there and you don't always go international, then I wouldn't bother. But if you're always traveling outside of the country, then it's worth it.
But it's only $100. So say you fly international like once a year and it lasts 5 years, it's still worth it, I think. Absolutely. Just because like some places are like smaller airports are worse than others because the line, like all of these flights will come in at around the same time. Like going to Jamaica, there was like I think 2 or 3 flights that landed at the same time. That line was so long.
Jamaica customs are the worst, especially they have the dogs out and everything, the canine dogs.
Yeah, they just weren't processing people like fast enough. So
well, yeah. So I will keep you guys posted. Next week, you guys are gonna have to do the podcast without me because I'll be in Aruba. But when I come back, I will fill you in on all the details.
Sounds good to me.
Bring sunscreen.
I know. I just picked up a bunch of like sunscreen today to bring.
Yeah.
So,
good.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm looking forward to it. I'm also kind of nervous, but it'll be fun. It'll be fun. It'll be fine.
Bring back the sun when you come back.
Yeah. Actually, today was not so bad. Today, well, at least here in New Jersey, the weather is getting nicer, I think.
Yeah. It started off raining this morning, but it warmed up the sun. I actually went for a walk. That was kind of cool.
Wow.
I know.
Summer's upon us.
Yeah.
So, Cindy, are you all set to come over here?
Oh yeah, I didn't mention in the podcast, I am going to New Jersey in June, and I am all set. I mean, it's going to be a crazy weekend because I'm going to have to leave straight after one of my shifts. So.
Oh, really?
And we're driving.
Do you need somebody to pick you up?
What? No, I'm not flying. That's the other part. We're not flying. We're driving.
Oh, you're driving.
Oh my God. I'm not looking forward to it because.
I thought your days of driving here were behind you.
Oh, I know. Trust me. I tried. We looked for flights, but then like flights and hotel for 2 days was gonna be $1,000, and I'm sorry, I'm not paying $1,000 for 2 days. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm still a cheapo. So, anyways, yeah, we're driving it, and it's gonna be interesting. So. Everything's set. I mean, I'll just pack that week and have everything ready so that when I get out of work, we go directly.
It's not like you're going to a different country. We do have Targets. And
I know. No, actually, it's funny you mentioned that because today in the car on the way home, I was telling Jay Papa that I want to stock up on a couple things. I want to stock up on my tea biscuits.
You can't get over there.
Yeah, like
Taylor ham.
Yeah, like I need Taylor ham. I had asked Sheena for the wedding, but clearly she couldn't bring it and she flew in. Then I want like my tea biscuits, so I'm like taking a trip to ShopRite while I'm out there and like picking up all my essentials and stuff.
They don't have the tea biscuits there?
They do, but they're 88 cents a tea biscuit, and in New Jersey they're 5 for $2. So,
really?
Yeah. But if you eat as many as I do, like I eat one of those things a night, like at work, I can go through like a half a pack of those by myself. So it's worth it. I go through them a lot, and every cent counts.
It's funny, like, I feel like the tea biscuits are like the Maria crackers, you know? Like, they're very similar to the Maria crackers in, like, consistency and taste.
The Goya
right?
Maria crackers?
The Maria crackers are a little harder. They're a little, like, you know, the tea biscuits are just a tad bit softer. And, yeah, I don't know. I haven't found anything else quite like it that I enjoy, so... Those are definitely... And what else do I have to get? I don't know what else. I may get, like, coffee, like Dunkin' Donuts. Like, the Dunkin' Donuts here is not the same. So, I'm gonna...
Oh, yeah. Well, I remember... Well, was it... No, it wasn't North Carolina. It was... Where did Josh go to school? Virginia. They had, like, Dunkin' Donuts everywhere, but it was all those, like, express Dunkin' Donuts. I was like, wait a second. This is, like... crap.
Oh my god, it's not even worth
Dunkin'
it.
Donuts.
Huh?
This is the
remember,
bootleg
Cindy,
Dunkin'
when
Donuts.
we took that road trip down there?
I remember, but I don't remember the coffee. I think I may have.
I remember that it was like they had Dunkin' Donuts, but it wasn't like a Dunkin' Donuts where like someone would pour you. It was like a Dunkin' like Donuts terminal at the gas station. Anyway, long story short, they just suck.
Like coffee's not a big deal down here. It's like not such a big deal as it is up north. So it's not even worth going to the Dunkin' Donuts because they always screw up the order, one. And the coffee doesn't taste right. It's just something weird about it. It's like the water.
They don't take their pride in their coffee.
Right. Like, yeah, so I don't even bother. I just do coffee at home here. So.
Well, it's probably cheaper anyway, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, we're looking forward to having you, and we'll make sure to have all the coffees for you. You're gonna be jacked up on coffee when you come back.
Are we gonna be celebrating your birthday when you come then?
I don't know. Are you? You tell me. I mean, you don't
let
have
us know
to.
your schedule. You'll have to let us know because I don't know if you're meeting with other people. Just let us know when you're available.
Well, I'm basically gonna be with you guys Friday and Saturday. And then Sunday we can. Joshua wants to go to the beach, and so we'll see. I don't know. It's gonna be really long, so I don't know if I'm too crazy about going to the beach. But he wanted to go. But Sunday night we'll go to see Jeff's family, and then we're heading back. Like we're driving Sunday night back home. So,
wow, that's gonna be a long day for you.
Oh my god, I'm so miserable. So, hopefully we'll take half the trip. We'll probably stop in Maryland and then take the other half Monday morning and hopefully get here Monday afternoon.
Oh, okay. So at least you're like taking a little break in between.
Yeah. And then back to work Tuesday. So, I mean, it'll be okay. It'll be tiring, but it's worth it. I miss you guys and, you know, I want to see you.
Yeah, we miss you too. We can't wait to see you in Jersey.
Yeah.
I know. It'll be like old times.
There you go.
So moving on, Ashley, I know that there was a little, I guess a little feedback from the episode last week. Do you want to get into it with us?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about it with you girls because I know what we're doing isn't very conventional. Like, I have people ever come up to you and said, like, why are you doing a podcast? Like, you know, and I explained to them, like, oh, we want to keep in touch. We want to talk about all the things that we can't talk about and feel comfortable to do it. But, like, you know, clearly we're taking our own personal conversations and putting it on the air. Yes, you know, we have a theme song and whatever, but this is private conversations with you girls. So, like, do you guys ever get feedback on, like, why we're doing this? And then I'll ask another question too later.
Yeah. I mean, I'll start. I haven't gotten feedback as to why. I have gotten feedback that, I mean, people enjoy it. I don't think, at least in my circle, podcasts are fairly new. A lot of people that I know never heard a podcast before. So they were curious but they enjoy it, you know? It's something that they don't get to hear every day. And so far, I've gotten really positive feedback. You know, I have a couple friends that are loyal listeners that will always comment on like, oh, I heard your episode. Actually, our cousin Kathy was here visiting the baby this weekend, and she surprised me, and she told me she's a listener too, which I was surprised because
awesome.
You just never know. Yeah, like randomly people will be like, oh yeah, I listen to your podcast religiously, and I'm like, really? So, I mean, I want people to listen, but I'm still kind of shocked that people do listen. So.
That's so true.
I mean,
no, I'm saying, Sin, how about you? What do you think?
Well, I mean, I don't know a lot of people down here. The one person that I do know is my neighbor, and she's like, oh, you have to get all your followers. Like, it's more like a sarcastic thing. And I asked her, like, she doesn't listen to the podcast. I've asked her to see if she wants to listen. I think Adra might have tuned into the podcast, but I really haven't. How do you say? I've been down here a few months. It's crazy. I don't really know that many people. You know what I mean? To even get. But I'm sure that if I was in New Jersey, everyone in New Jersey would be like, why are you doing that? Like, they would be curious because when I started selling clothes on Poshmark, people were like, why are you doing that? Like, why are you selling your clothes? Like, they thought I was like in desperate need for money. I'm like, because I can. You know? It's like, because I want to. I don't know. So... yeah, no feedback here. So,
well, I was bringing it up because I think what we're doing is interesting, especially since it is like a conversation with you girls, and it's where I feel comfortable, and I'm sure you girls do feel comfortable to say how we feel. Like, basically, we're just talking, like, instead of having, like, picking up the phone and be like, hey girl, like, you know, how was your week or whatever, we're doing this podcast. And I think that we're doing it because we want to be able to talk about the things that we want to talk about without feeling like, you know, without being PC or without like tiptoeing around certain things. But with that comes certain repercussions, right? You guys agree?
Yeah, I would say so.
You will always get repercussions when you're talking and you're not being PC and you're just saying what's on your mind. Not everyone's going to agree with you. That's
right. So last week, I got a little bit of feedback with somebody didn't agree with what I said, and I found it very interesting because I talked about it with TW, and I talked about it with you girls, and I talked about it with friends, and I was just, you know, like mulling it over, and like I just came to this conclusion that like I'm like putting myself out there, we are putting ourselves out there, and we're putting our opinion out there, and a lot of times, like, I don't think I was ready to hear that somebody didn't agree with what I said, but it's almost like inevitable. Like, they have every right to say that. Like, I didn't agree with it, and I can't say, well, that was a private conversation with my sisters, because it isn't. You know what I mean? Yeah. So... well,
I mean, I think, you know... sorry to interrupt you, but like when I had thought of this podcast and my vision for this podcast is I did want a forum to speak my mind. At the time, I remember vividly, like I was pumping, it was like 5 a.m, I'm pumping and I'm like wanting to talk about my mommy issues with someone, but then also feeling kind of alone. And I'm like, I really miss my sisters. Like, I really miss talking to them. And then, like, you know, at the time I was really into podcasts. I'm like, you know what? Then that's how the idea started. And remember, I texted you guys and like, how do you feel about starting a podcast?
Yeah, blah, blah, I remember.
So the whole point for me of the podcast was as, you know, like a way to talk, a way to vent, a way to express my opinions, our opinions and our thoughts in an open forum, right? I've always had an online presence. Like I've always had a Facebook account. I've been very active on Instagram, Twitter at one point. So I've always had like an online life, right? And then I've always been really good about censoring my online life, so it never came to bite me in the butt, I guess you can say. So I kept it very PC, I kept it very business, I kept it very positive. But you know what? Sometimes you just need to express how you really feel. And I feel like that's why this podcast is an important project for me. When we started this, my schedule was already crazy, working full time and the business and the baby and the house things. And Kleber was like, are you sure you want to add a podcast to the mix? Like, this is a choice. And I said, yes, it is a choice, but I need this. Like, I feel like I need this in my life. I want this outlet to be able to express myself and have fun with it and be creative. So even though the podcast, like I said, we don't have that many listeners and it doesn't make us money, I feel like I need this forum to be myself. You know, like, to me, it's just as important as my business endeavors, because to me, it's good for my sanity, right? So I always want this space to be an open place where we can speak freely. And I always expect to come to the podcast and speak freely, because whether or not it offends people, that is on them. But I don't ever want to feel like I'm censoring myself on here, because if I am, then what's the point of doing it?
Yeah.
Those are my thoughts on it. Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about it?
Who, me? I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel. I feel like I joined the podcast for multiple reasons, but I'm not going to go through that. I feel like if we are here sitting talking about different issues, and we already touched on some touchy issues, and if you're not hitting a nerve of somebody, then you're trying to please too many people. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're always so PC, like, then that's just like, it's not even entertaining. I'm not gonna even be attracted to you in real life. Forget me trying to listen to your podcast. And not that we do that on purpose. Like, my personality is, you know, this is how I am, take it or leave it. But, like, you know, I don't think that I'm going to have to cater or be careful and tiptoe my way around what I say. What I say is what I mean, and that's it. Like it or not, like, you know, that's just, and this is the forum for it. You know, this podcast where you, me, and Maddy get together, we talk about all different issues. Some people, you know, sensitive topics, you know, topics of, you know, I mean, if you listen to our podcast, then you know what I'm talking about.
We cover the whole gambit of things. And frivolous things and serious things.
Right. So it's like, you know, I mean, not everyone is going to like what you have to say about a certain topic, and that's fine. You know what I mean? I kind of want to hear people disagree with you, and if you do disagree, then please speak up and let us know, you know what, and then we can discuss that, like the different views as to why your opinion is different than ours, you know, about this certain matter. I don't know, I think, you know, I think it's good if people don't like everything I have to say, because people don't like everything I have to say in real life, so I don't expect them to on the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that it was something to think about. Overall, you know, it happened, and I think that what I started to think about is that absolutely we come on here and I don't know, we didn't put a disclaimer on, but like, this is my official disclaimer, you know, anything that is said on here is our opinion. It's not like facts or anything. But you know, it's our opinion. And, but at the same note, like, other people have the right, because we're putting it out there in a very public platform, to respond in kind. So, I just, you know, like, I needed to mentally brace myself for that, you know? So, and that wasn't something that I was prepared for. I mean, like, when we started the podcast, that wasn't something that actually entered my mind. And it was something that was brought to my my attention. And I was like, okay, yeah, like, I need to be prepared for this, because if I'm going to take on the responsibility and I'm putting myself out there, like, I'm also putting myself, leaving myself open for criticism. So.
Yeah, I mean, I really, like I said, my intention was always to be as open and honest on this podcast. One of the reasons why I have not advertised it on my own personal Instagram, which I'm about to change. Like, I really want to, because the problem is I have a lot of work people. So for me, it's not the personal people, it's the work people. So I kind of want to limit how much they know about me on the outside, just because of office politics. But honestly, I don't want to feel like I have to censor myself. Like I said, like I feel like I already censor myself on Facebook. I feel like I censor myself on Instagram. And I want to be able to talk about issues and really state my opinion without fear of how that's going to hurt business, or how, what people at my job are going to think of me. So that's why I haven't shared the podcast with people at work, because I wanted to keep the space as free as possible. I knew that once I let people from work in, then I would start censoring some of the things I said, right? Like admitting to the fact that I asked for a raise, or like stupid stuff like that. But people take that and twist it and run with it,
Right.
So, yeah. Yeah, I just think it's important, like Cindy said, you can't please everybody. I think I don't want to get into what was the point of contention, but I feel that, you're not going to please everybody. I think when we do the podcast, we're literally just talking. It's not rehearsed. So sometimes when we sound like we don't know what the hell we're saying, it's because we don't know what the hell we're saying.
Absolutely.
We're like,
those are real.
we're live. So yeah, if things don't come out as articulate and well rehearsed, it's because they're not well rehearsed. So, we may say things, it may not come out right, but just know that everything that's said is with the best of intentions.
Right, the best of intentions. Also, realize that we're doing this late at night, usually after a long day at work, and it's, I don't know, we're hanging out together as sisters, and we may not be, jumping or super enthusiastic, but we mean well.
You know what? Yeah. I watch a lot of YouTube videos and YouTubers, and a lot of YouTubers feel the need to also, touch, speak about certain things. This? Yes, touch on certain things, like comments people say. And I understand, like, people can be trolls, and just be like, oh, you think you're this, you think you're that, or they'll just, like, whatever it may be that's a negative comment. They don't have to agree with me, or, but, like, they'll touch on the subject. But I honestly think that, I guess for Ashley, I can understand, because she didn't realize, she wasn't mentally prepared that this was going to be, people are listening, and you're putting your opinion out there, and people are going to have feedback. I, on the other hand, opposite of Madeline, I'm like an open book. So sometimes I post things on Instagram that are not necessarily appropriate. But at the same time, when I am at work, and I have work people follow my Instagram, I have work people on my Facebook, I don't have these new work people because I'm still not cool with them like that. But, the work people from New Jersey, and they see everything that I post, and I'm like an open book. So everything I wear on a sleeve. But, like, I think that, there's a lot of people that are not going to like what you have to say. And, oh, freaking well, like, you know what I mean? That's too bad. That's life. You're not going to agree with everybody. But that doesn't mean just because you don't agree with it that we can't get along. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. And we can't be civil to each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you may not like my style. You may not like what I have to say, but we can still be civil to each other. We're all adults here. Going back to that.
Speaking of which, though, what does your significant others think about the podcast? I don't think we've ever spoken about that on here. What do your husbands think about the podcast? Do they listen?
Kleber has not listened, but his friends have listened. He kind of just lets me do my thing. Another thing is just like, he doesn't want to, he knows that I do the podcast. Like, whenever it's podcast night, I'm like, babe, I'm going to be doing the podcast. You got to take care of Jonas for the next hour. And he's like, okay. Like, he totally respects it, but he knows it's my thing, you know? Mm-hmm. So I appreciate that he kind of gives me my space.
Right.
And right. And he's not, like, observing it and you know what I mean? Like, it's my pet project, and he's okay with me letting me have this. But we've been around other people, and they're like, oh, I listened to your podcast, and he'll tune it, he'll hear those comments and be like, hey, people are actually listening. I'm like, yeah, they are. It's like, for real, it's serious.
Yeah, so, I mean, I have to say that Jeffrey is another one that he doesn't necessarily tune in, but I have to be honest, and I don't, after the episode airs, I don't listen in. I used to listen in back on when the episode airs, and now I don't listen in because I honestly like things that are more natural and organic. I think that, you know what I mean? So if I listen in, then maybe next time I won't like want to say what I really have to say. Yeah.
So you don't like hearing your
honest feedback.
Well, no, it's just like this time for me. I take this time, and it's it's for us. Every week at this hour, it's for us, and it's dedicated to us, and it's something that I truly enjoy doing, and I get a lot from it. Like Madeline says, like it's truly for us and for our listeners. Like they get something out of it because it's like having sisters. I think about everyone like. My best friend Caddy, she doesn't have the close relationship with her sister, so whether or not she tunes in, it's like listening in and having girlfriends, and being able to like
having girl talk.
Yeah, just having girl talk, so Jeffrey doesn't necessarily tune into the, but he respects, same thing as Cleaver, he respects my time, and hopefully he doesn't walk in while I'm recording, because sometimes I'm like, get the hell out, like, what the hell, like, this is, you're ruining my train of thought, and I'm inspired here. It's like an inspired moment.
That's funny.
What about you, Charlotte? What is TW? Especially now that you have to share the apartment. Last episode, we heard TW come in and open a bottle of Coke, I guess.
Yes, like a disclaimer, all that background noise is my boyfriend in the background, like stomping around in my tiny apartment. But yeah, he used to listen like when we first started, and he's gotten a little bit busier now. I think with the summer, his business is like kicked up a little bit, so he doesn't listen to every episode, but if I ask him to listen, he'll listen. And obviously he can hear my one side of the podcast, as I'm recording. Like my apartment is very tiny, so it's inevitable. He's gonna hear it. Yes. But it's funny, like I listen to it and it sounds different. Like obviously we're having this conversation right now and it feels so organic, and it's when I hear it, like on Thursday when we publish it, it's like, wow, this is like it feels like a different conversation. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that. Wait,
like how so? How so?
Like, I'll be talking and I'll be like, oh my god, that's how I sounded when I said that? Like, it sounded different in my head when I was talking about that. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're like, what? Who? I don't know. Yeah. Like, I guess it's that same awkward feeling about hearing your voice played back to you. You're like, who is that stranger with that weird voice? I
know. Sometimes I'm like, do I really sound that annoying?
Yes.
When I hear it again, I'm like, do I really sound that annoying? That obnoxious? I'm like, But I've gotten used to hearing my own voice. Oh, in the beginning it was terrible. I hated the sound of my voice. But after doing this is our 13th episode. So after doing this 13 weeks plus the one take episodes, I feel like I've gotten comfortable with the sound of my voice. I don't love it, but I like it.
Well, yeah. It's a weird phenomenon that it's so weird that we don't hear the sound of our own voices unless it's replayed to us. Isn't that crazy? Have you thought about that for a minute? Like when you're talking normally, you don't really pay attention to your voice, you know?
Or your intonation or anything like that. I think it's, I mean, like clearly we're hearing ourselves talk, but we're not really listening. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Actually, that's a true statement, probably. Yeah.
So I bet it's like it's gonna be really good for us, like when it comes to confidence and like being able to speak up for ourselves and like not being afraid to, like in a quiet room, be that one voice to talk out. I think, with this, that might be easier in time. So that's always that's a plus. I hope that's what comes out of this, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I was thinking? The guys don't listen because this is a podcast catered to women. You know what I mean?
I think so. I mean, I don't think we ever, like, said it was a woman podcast, but, like, it kind of has to be, right? Like, we're 3 women, and it's just, like, yeah, it's very much revolves around what's going on with us. So I think that's another reason why the guys don't listen, because it's more catered to the females. But we welcome guys too. So
absolutely, like I have a little poster in my desk that says Sister Night Podcast or whatever. I don't know. Like I guess I'm not as like keep boundaries in my work. Like I don't know. Maybe I should be. I don't know. But I have a little poster.
No, Madeline was saying something about that because you are like me, like, my family, especially in the hospital. I guess we spend so many hours there at a time that you eventually, it's like I used to call my people, my coworkers, my work family, Yeah. And it's like we don't have that line of divide,
but perhaps we should.
I think, it again, like I think if any of my coworkers happen to stumble upon the podcast, like I feel really proud of what we do here, for better or for worse. Like it's not anything I'm ashamed of,
right?
But it's just like with my Facebook. Like for the longest time, I had my Facebook private. And I didn't have any work people. Then all of a sudden, I added one work friend. And then from there, the floodgates opened. And then everyone started friend requesting. Then all of a sudden, I just feel like my Facebook is not my own anymore. That I have to just be careful. Because then the next day in the office, people are like, hey, this,
But you know what?
That, or,
But you know what, Maddy? I think everyone is different. There are some people that like work life separate than home life, separate than, whatever life, And I think that all around you are that kind of person. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, I remember when you first started dating Kleber and years ago, and you would be like, well, this is my boyfriend. Like, you kept it all in its nice compartment. You know what I mean? And, like, now we're at, like, some people don't do that in their lives. Everything's mishmash together and, so... I think that's just your personal.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, I also have found, like, for instance, this is for a topic for another day, but my bosses had, like, friend requested me on Facebook a while ago, and I added them because I'm like, whatever, I don't really post anything crazy. I'm not, like, out clubbing every night or whatever. I have pictures of my kid. But then I felt like it kind of came to nip me in the butt afterwards. So I had to, like, unfriend them because...
what did they do?
I don't want... Well, they made a they kind of made a comment, and, like, for instance, with my photography business, I used to not advertise it at work. It kind of leaked out, again, because everyone... friended me on Facebook, and then it just kind of like leaked out. But then I make sure that it doesn't come off like I don't care about my 9 to 5, because I do. But at the end of the day, like, your bosses are going to see this like, like, you know what I mean? Like, you have this side endeavor and you care about this more. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Oh my goodness. Like, so, I mean, like, seriously, like, that's so unrealistic of them to think that you don't have a side endeavor. You know, like, most nurses have a full-time job and a per diem job and some other gig.
Yeah, but in the corporate world, like, people, you know, the office, that's what I'm saying. It's office politics.
But
so
you're not climbing
you're
the
not
corporate...
serious about... Yeah, well, it's like you're not serious, or you're not 100% serious about your job because you're doing X, Y, Z. You're doing this on the side.
Well,
you know?
I beg to differ. You've been with the company for a long time, so you have loyalty to them. You're not climbing the corporate ladder. It's not like you're trying to take one of their positions or go into management. You know what I mean? You come, do what you have to do, and you go home. And that time outside of work, I mean, they're only paying for 40 hours. That's all they're paying for. You know what I mean?
Well, exactly. So that's the other reason why I had to unfriend them, because I'm just like, you know what? We work together. That's perfectly fine. But I need some, like, my personal life outside of the office, right? And you don't need to be a part of it.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, again, I'm not ashamed of my business. I'm not ashamed of this podcast, but for me, and especially the environment I work in, sometimes it's good to have a little separation, because in my particular work environment, you know, the office politics, it makes sense for that.
I understand. I think there's like, I agree. I think it does depend on your environment. I think on the floor where, you know, in a clinical setting where it's just different. Like that show that came out, it was The Office, and it illustrated so many little idiosyncrasies about people who you're spending 8 hours of time consistently with these people, like sitting in a desk, and yes, you're doing work, but you can, you know, focus on other things, and of course they're going to focus on you too. And it's just a different environment by nature, you know? So, I've experienced times where being open and you know, again, putting myself out there on a public platform has kind of come to bite me in the butt later. Yeah. So I completely agree in that setting, but at the same time, like, again, I feel the same way. Like, I'm really proud of what we do on the podcast. Like, I'm proud of our relationship, and even when we flounder and we're saying and likes and all of our what have yous or whatever, like, I'm still proud of us. And I think it takes a lot of courage to come out here and, you know, say what it is we have to say. It's not easy, and we're definitely putting ourselves out there. So at the same time, like, I am proud. So that's why I have my little picture on my desk. And if anybody wants to see who I am, this is a part of me. And it also reflects, I feel like, our conversations here make me more stronger. They make me more intelligent. I learn things, and you guys reflect on my work at work. You know what I mean? I learn lessons from you girls, and it positively impacts me at work. So, you know, if they want to see what impacts that, then absolutely. This is another part of me. But just like all of my family pictures and my friends, that's another thing that I'm proud of. So I'm going to keep it on my little cork board at my desk.
On your little cork board?
Yeah.
Good. Cindy, is there anyone, I know you're open book with your work friend, but do you feel like you've censored the podcast or anything with anyone?
Is there anyone that I what?
Like, do you feel like you've censored the podcast or yourself for anyone?
No, I don't really have much of a censor. Actually, you want to hear some bochinche?
Sure. Always down for bochinche.
Okay, so this week, so you know I live in like a community, and there's a golf course. So anyways, everybody here is like big on their golf carts. So anyways, my one friend here like, she came over, and it was just, like, a quick, like, come over for a beer type of thing. I was out all day, and we were talking, and I don't know, I'm talking about Outer Banks, and we're just catching up for a little bit, and then all of a sudden, she's like, yeah, so I got a golf cart. I was like, what? And then, you know, because it's like, you know, there's different houses in the community. There's like really big homes and like really fancy homes. And then there's like smaller homes. That's where we live. So she's like, you know, like the fancy people, they drive around in their golf carts and like you'll wave because everybody in North Carolina is very polite. So they'll wave, hey. And the people in the golf carts don't wave back at you. Right?
What?
Yes. There's some bitches, like there's this one blonde bitch, like she like never waves back, and I'm like, oh, and I like want to get her, like I want to get her to wave so bad, so I just keep waving at her, like kill her with niceness. So anyways, my friend, she got her golf cart and we were talking about it. She's like, oh yeah, like it was like you know, last minute thing anyway. But then like same it's like it was like the whole big topic. Like they bought it from some other man. The next door neighbors, which I'm not so friendly with, also got a golf cart at the same time. So it's like golf cart over here, golf cart overload.
The war of the golf cart.
Yeah. So here's a little.
Does this mean that you're gonna get a golf cart too?
No. So yeah, so her husband, my friend's husband was like, oh, to Jeff, he was like, oh, your wife's gonna want one now. And he's like, my wife doesn't want a golf cart. Like, that's like the biggest, like, he didn't say it to him, but we talked in between ourselves, like the biggest waste of money because, and here's where the bochinche is. Like she paid, okay, here's the bochinche. There's no censor. She paid $3,500 for her golf cart.
No way.
And wait a minute.
Really? They're that expensive?
And my next door neighbor
and that was used, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was used. Yes. It's used. And my next door neighbor also bought a used one, but more like souped up golf cart, and that one's like $7,500.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like, and everyone's like pimping their ride. No, seriously, it's like a whole big to-do here. Like the landscaping and like the golf carts, everyone's pimping their ride. Like my friend, she like wants to like soup up the wheels or whatever. But like, you know, so the next door neighbors, I found out, paid like near close to $8,000 for their golf cart. And
That's
it's
crazy.
Oh my god.
And you can't use it anywhere but in this community. You know what I mean? It's like crazy. It's nuts. It's chaos. It's like moronic, in my opinion. Like, don't get me wrong. I was so happy for my friend. I know she loves it, and I actually love it. I'm like, yay, now I could be like bougie in the golf cart with her. But I'm not going to spend that kind of money on a golf cart. Not today and not tomorrow.
Wow. Not ever.
Yeah, so that was a bochinche of the week with the golf carts.
Crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. So
You'll have to, actually now you're gonna have to take a picture in the golf cart so we can have it for the Instagram.
Do they do it different colors?
Well, I have.
Oh yeah,
They
they multicolor. I was just thinking that, like, what if like a hot red?
Oh, oops, sorry.
Golf cart.
Oh my god, people go crazy here with the golf carts. There's like one that's like a hunter, and he's got like a camoed out like golf cart, and the other one has like I forget if it's like a Ferrari symbol. They like put the little stickers like Deacon like for Ferrari golf cart. Oh yeah.
You know what that reminds me of? You know how like when we go over to the Cedeño's house, like all of the kids have their little cars.
Oh, the little mini cars.
They're little mini cars. It's like mini cars for adults.
Oh my god, they're all over. Actually, there's so many golf carts now that people are like going crazy over the golf carts. There's so many golf carts that the HOA said they're gonna make him like, you're gonna have to make them street appropriate. So you're gonna have to get blinkers. You're gonna have to get like a windshield and a windshield wiper.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Suburbia, yeah.
Yeah. So that's the latest and greatest down here.
Jeez. Well, guys, I mean, it was a good discussion. I'm so glad that we got to talk about. Yeah, actually, one last question before we wrap up. what are your hopes for the podcast?
Oh, good question.
Yeah.
Cindy, you go first.
Me? I hope that we connect with a lot of different women from a lot of different areas and different cultures. And I hope that we can, I don't know, make a community of women that are minorities, that are Spanish, that are Black, that are white, that are Asian, that, and they have different opinions and come from different lifestyles. And because we talk about so many different things, like, it's just interesting. And that would be my vision. You know what I mean? If we have this podcast, is to really have a community of women that, can relate to these topics, can bring topics, can feedback, and we can bounce back on these topics, because it's hard. I think it's difficult. Sometimes you feel like you're by yourself, but you're not by yourself. You're not the only like minority going through these issues. And and like for you, Madeline, in corporate America, dealing with social media, there's someone else dealing with the same thing. So yeah. So that's my vision.
I like that, yeah, I like that. I can agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
Charlotte, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, I agree with what Cindy said, but I also have like a personal goal. I hope that, well, two things. I hope that I become more strong and confident in who I am in myself, in that I don't always apologize for what I say, or don't say anything because of what I'm afraid somebody might think or feel or whatever. Like, I just want some more confidence in myself and not worry about, not the repercussions, but what other people have to, about anybody, just more confident in myself, in my voice. And hopefully as well, so that is the one goal. And two, again, to make our relationship stronger. Like, as growing up, I've always idolized my two sisters. I've loved you, and I've always wanted to like become like you. But I'm hoping that as we do this podcast, I don't only idolize you, but we become like more equals, and you know what I mean? We bond in our joined with like our struggles as women, and all of that, just as sisters. And so yeah,
our voices,
just like, yes, exactly. Like, I'm having trouble saying what I'm trying to say, but I know you guys understand what I'm trying to say.
I think a lot of that actually will come with time as well. You know what I mean? I think that, as you get older, you just feel more accepting of yourself, and this is who you are, and type of thing. But I appreciate someone idolizing me. My goodness.
How about you, Maddie?
I think I'm gonna repeat a little bit of what Cindy said. I think when I conceived the podcast, it was to connect with you girls first and foremost. And also, like Cindy said, out of a place of loneliness, right? Like, you're surrounded by people, but you're not always your true self around, or you don't feel like you could always be yourself and express your opinions and express your thoughts, Sometimes you just kind of kind of for the sake of keeping peace, or the sake of just doing the right thing, I guess, you just censor yourself. So for me, the podcast really was about connecting with you guys, and also about finding my voice and connecting with other women. And so far, I think we're doing that. Like, it makes me so happy. Like, I don't care if we have 5 listeners. I don't care if we have 1,000 listeners. Like, whenever I hear someone say, oh, I love the podcast, or I listened to your episode, like, to me, I feel connected with that person. Like, they're hearing my thoughts, my innermost thoughts. And my hope, my goal is to get a little more interaction with our listeners. Like Cindy said, build a community. I would love to get more guests on here. we have a lot of very interesting people in our life, women and men alike.
Yes.
And I would just love to bring more people on and get more people talking and sharing. And those are my ultimate goals for the podcast, right? So everyone feels like there's a place for them.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's. I think you girls covered it beautifully. I hope that we continue doing it. It's episode 13. We got many more to go. But this is a good start.
Awesome. Yes, it is.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so I guess that's it for tonight, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in like you do every week. And next week, it's just going to be Cindy and Charlotte. So
ooh,
check it out.
On Madeline.
That's right. It's payback time.
I know. Well, hopefully you don't have any dirt on me, but
we'll scoop something up.
I'll be waiting. I come back Wednesday night, so Thursday morning, I'll tune in bright and early to the podcast. So. Anyway, well, it was nice talking to you girls today, and I hope we can do it again soon.
We will.
We'll see you when your trip comes back.
Yeah, we'll see you when you get back, Maddie.
Yeah. And for our listeners, check us out at sisternightpodcast.com. Follow us on Instagram, Sister Night Pod. As always, we love to hear from you guys, whether good or bad feedback. That's what this podcast is all about, right? Connecting with you all. So send us your questions, send us your comments. We'd love to hear from you. And hope you guys can rate us on iTunes if you have a moment. Give us as many stars as you think we deserve. And thanks for joining in. Say good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.